I'm Kahja Elliott, and I'm a food enthusiast. Bronx born and raised, ATL made, Bay Area becoming. And I talk to people about how they create community through food in the Bay and beyond. Welcome to the As Told By podcast. Welcome to this week's episode of the As Told By podcast. I am here in San Leandro today with a company. You all know them, but you're going to get to know them better this episode. Starting with just 5 syrups and growing to a portfolio of over 150 sold around the world, their purpose is flavor for all, opportunity for all. Founded in 1925, their syrups and flavors are upgrading creative beverages from coffee to cocktails. They literally have a flavor for every moment. And I'm here today with Andrea Ramirez, Consumer and Customer Market Insight Manager at Torani. Hey.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the As Told By podcast.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for inviting me into all things Torani. This is amazing. I love this office.
It's so nice. When we moved to this office in 2020, so imagine we were supposed to move Cinco de Mayo of 2020.
That wasn't happening.
Things weren't great. But we went from 2 separate facilities in South San Francisco into what was this brand new flavor factory that had been created. And we had about 80,000 or 60,000 square feet of manufacturing space, and then another 250,000 of warehousing distribution, right? Mm-hmm. But it was all kind of old, not built just for us, where this was built just for us. And it was, I always say, it's like we went from the Pony Express to the space shuttle. It was amazing.
I'm glad you gave context for when you got here, because I was thinking back and I'm like, this wasn't always here. I moved to the Bay in 2014, and one of the first places I found was the marina, because I would go out there and use the walk trail. And I was like, I feel like the marina was one of the places during the pandemic you could go in peace because it was outdoors. And I remember driving and thinking, that wasn't always here. So that makes sense.
Yep. It was a giant international paper factory that used to be here. And I only know that because I went to the golf course down the road here.
Okay. Well, look, y'all have taken the paper factory from ashy to classy, because this is a very classy operation here. Let's get started with a little bit of history about the company. So I read that this is a company with family origins, originating from an Italian family that then came to San Francisco to start this business. What is the story?
So I think there sometimes is even a little confusion about that. Our 2 founders, Ronaldo and Isilda Torre, were actual Americans. They were born in the U.S., but their ancestors were from Italy. They lived in the North Beach area, and they went and visited some family, though, over in Lucca, Italy. And when they came back, they brought back these recipes and started making the Italian syrups out of their grocery and distributing them from their own grocery business. So an interesting thing, I think, is that, there were 2 of them who had the vision to do this, but there was a really thriving Italian community as well. And people missed those flavors. And we actually call that era of our company the Taste of the Homeland era, where we were bringing back those flavors that people couldn't get and that they truly missed.
Okay, so a misnomer. It started here, but inspired by traditions in Italy. And if I read correctly, the origin was spirits at first. Is that right?
So So they had a whole business. They weren't the distillers. They were rectifiers of spirits, which is actually flavoring and infusing them. So Isilda was, we believe, one of the first female rectifiers of spirits in the U.S. And we had a product, even before the prohibition. And that was one that up until we it was our sort of lone remaining alcoholic product long after we kind of got rid of everything. It's much easier not to do business in alcohol, I'll tell you.
Who knew?
I know. But we actually gave that recipe to another distiller to make at the end of it, because we knew that the Torani and myrrh was a really beloved product. It's really important to the Basque community for a drink called pecan punch. And so, so that was a significant part of our history for a long time up until quite recently. But we're glad that someone else can focus on it and nurture it. And we're not really equipped to deal with the world of alcohol.
Well, listen, you got your hands full just with the flavors and the syrups. And I know right before we started recording, you talked about the company coming over to this location 2020, but starting out in South San Francisco. So what was the impetus of leaving where you were in South San Francisco and coming here? So
South San Francisco, to give you some context, I started with Torani in 2001, a little bit before 9/11. So I've been here a fairly long time. And we were still somewhat new within South San Francisco when I had started. But South San Francisco, even in the time that I worked there, really changed quite a lot. It was, the big hub of biotech, where for a long time it was where there were all of the meat producers and slaughterhouses and a lot more, you see on Sign Hill, the industrial city. But it's not that type of industrial anymore. And so manufacturing became very competitive. And then you can imagine these large biotech companies really driving up rent significantly. There were more tech companies starting to dabble in there. And I think the day we moved out, it became Amazon. Our big distribution facility was taken over by Amazon. So it then became that. And our manufacturing space became a version of almost like a WeWork style thing, but for small manufacturing. So you could do that. So just like really, really different. And we needed to have space. That's the other thing, is there wasn't space available there anymore.
So then you come across the bridge to the East Bay. How did y'all decide on San Leandro? Was it just a space match, or was there like something about this community that y'all really wanted to be a part of?
So the company had a goal of 100% retention, knowing that we had to move. And this was something that was looked into for a long time, is, hey, we've had 20% growth every year and doubling the company every 5 years. So knowing what kind of the future held if we continued on the same trajectory, we went through, and when I say we, I mean our senior leadership team, and they actually took a zip code map of every single team member.
Wow.
And built that out and tried to find where the most central location would be so that they could keep 100% of us here and not create additional hardship for people to come in. So it worked. There were, not everybody moved, but most people moved. Most people figured it out. And, I know I had a lot of trepidation. Oh, it's going to be crossing a bridge. As a peninsula person, I'm ridiculous. But it's not the hardship I think most of us thought it was. They figured out a lot of things with carpooling and other types of transportation as well. So,
well, that already tells me a lot about what's going on around here, because, how companies operate today. The boat is moving and you can get right or get left. And, to even care enough to try to include people in the plan for the strategy of where we're going next. That says a lot.
Yes.
Says a lot. We're going to get more into the employee experience here, but let's move to where you started. So the company started with 5 flavors. What were those original 5?
So lemon, grenadine, anisette, tamarindo, and orgeat. All to some degree still around. Lemon is lemon. It's still here. Tamarindo was discontinued for many years in the early 2000s, but it came back this year, specifically for our 100-year anniversary.
Okay.
So that was fun.
Okay.
Anisette was also discontinued in the early 2000s, but we brought that one back again for our 100-year, but re-envisioned it for kind of the palette of today, where it's a black anisette flavor now. So it's a little bit lighter. It's herbaceous and kind of crisp, and plays in with the whole Swedish candy trend. Having that color aspect gave, I think, some more aesthetic and fun, influential ways to play with it. And then Orgeat has since been renamed Almond. So it was called Almond for a long time in retail, and it was like, let's just call it Almond for everyone
Let's call
else.
it what it is. Is there like a gone but not? If you are ever, if anyone listening has been a customer of MAC Cosmetics, you know when they discontinued, they will have a section of their website that was called Gone But Not Forgotten. Does that happen here? Like when flavors go away, there's some place where you can go get like all the no longer in production flavors?
I wish. So I know that from the Ben & Jerry's flavor graveyard too. And I always think, gosh, when we have October, we always have a big Dia de los Muertos thing. And it's like, we need a little tiny like altar of rest in peace chocolate biscotti, rest in peace apricot, rest in peace boysenberry. We have a lot of flavors. And even through my time here, we've discontinued a lot, and we've introduced a lot as well.
Okay. Interesting. I'm going to come back to that when we talk more about flavors. But talk about the process behind the creation and the testing, because food science, of course, is going to be key here. So I'm sure there's food chemists, lurking around every corner here. What roles are critical to the process of developing these flavors?
So we use a 4-part process when it comes to bringing products to market. So we have a design thinking process for our brand new kind of transformation innovation. But then with the more traditional things, what we would call line extensions, we do this 4-part process. So the first piece is figure out what the trend is that's going to help you decide to do it. And so we're always tracking a variety of categories that could be in the grocery store. And it's not just, oh, here's coffee flavors, right? But what's happening in ice cream? What's happening in candy? What's happening with people's behavior? What are the different beverage bases that are being used? So we're looking at all of this and constantly collecting a fact base of what is happening there, which I think is a pretty interesting piece of the process. And from there, we kind of distill all of those ideas and organize them, and we'll get some inspiration, hey, what comes next? And it might be, for example, like the flavor of the year for this year, forest pine. It's like, oh, okay. Well,
Which I still can't believe.
Right. Well, when you look at the growth of a flavor like lavender, this is the more wild version of lavender. So it's, and you wouldn't have thought 5 years ago you could have gone to a Target store, but earlier this year you could buy vanilla lavender coffee from Starbucks on the shelf at Target. So it's like things have changed, and we wanted to provide the not only idea of something that is a new way to interpret maybe a flavor like that, but we also wanted to make something that's really experiential. So like really particularly when we look at connecting with young people, young audiences, experience is a very significant part of consumption, right? It's the aesthetic experience, the aromatic experience, the taste.
It's almost
the
more
texture,
than the taste sometimes.
It's all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one piece of it. But then to go to your question about the flavor piece, so then we move to the gold standard. So say we've identified something like forest pine. This is where it gets fun, is we have what we call the gold standard identification process. So our R&D team, the food scientists, the folks in the white coats, they will bring in a huge variety of products. products that you might not think of. It could be we found some kind of Nordic pine candy, and here's some pine toothpaste, and there's this type of pine, that type of pine, right? But they'll bring in a variety of stuff, even making like a couple of different types of pine syrup from pine needles. Wow. Just wild stuff, right? But you have to go through and figure all of that out. And we have this trained tasting panel that will then go through and try all of the attributes of these really interesting, very different products to see like what are the things that we like. And we use tools like tasting wheels to figure out the attributes. So it might be the freshness and fragrance of one, it might be the citrusy finish of another, and you work to then quantify all of those attributes. And that's what the food scientists can then use to create more of this fixed point that we can innovate to. So we're not kind of chasing a moving target. It's, hey, we all agreed that it was going to be herbaceous and fresh, and it needed to be a light fragrance, not a heavy, deep one, and we didn't want bitter notes and whatever it might be. So that goes from the gold standard process, and then they bring in from our flavor houses a variety of flavors. We go through a number of different revisions as we kind of march toward that target that we've identified. And then from there, it will go to production where we scale it up. Have to make sure not only it can scale up in a great big batch, but then also that it can survive, right? It needs to go through some shelf life testing, and things can go astray.
You were describing when you said the trained like tasting panel, that is like a dream job because you get to nerd out, right? On food and all the notes. I love it. How do people get selected in here for the tasting panel? Is that something that employees apply to be a part of? It's not that you have to specifically apply, but it's really, you have to ask and you have to prioritize to attend some of this stuff. We don't expect everybody to know exactly how to taste or how to describe right away. I know I've gotten much better at it over the years. It's a skill, just like any other, learning how to describe things, how to describe them consistently, where people like, yes, I get that. It can be really difficult. So, but it's fun. You're right. I mean, it's fun. Big fun.
And doing the gold standard tastings, 100% the very best meeting you will ever attend in your career at Torani.
Couldn't get no better.
No.
Can't get any better than that. This is a global brand, 150, plus syrups around the world. Are there flavors that are only produced in certain countries?
Everything is produced in the U.S., so we are not manufacturing elsewhere, though we might be bringing in ingredients from elsewhere. So, for example, the mango smoothie mix that we make uses Kent mangoes from Mexico, right? So there sometimes are ingredients that come from other places, but we are manufactured in the U.S.
It's not like, though, I would go to some country and find like pandan version just in that country, or I would find, something like lychee in a specific country.
Right. We don't, though we do have specific formulas sometimes for other countries. So we have a version of grapefruit that is only sold in Japan. Though it is manufactured here, we have, sometimes there are different ingredients that are allowed, and sometimes there are different preferences, or realistically, sometimes the U.S. market doesn't want some stuff, and other international markets might be interested.
Okay. So as you're traveling, people, as I'm traveling, keep your eye out for that Torani, that flavor you hadn't really heard of or seen. You mentioned smoothie mix, so that takes us to a good place. Let's talk about an overview of the product categories that you all offer. Can you do like a quick run through on that?
Sure. So the one people know us best for is, of course, the syrup. So we have the original syrup, and we have sugar-free version of that. Then we also have a line of pure-made syrups, which are manufactured in a slightly different way, where We use a cold process with our original line. We use a heat process with the other one, which allows for different preserving methods. You can pasteurize it. And then it also has all natural sources of colors within that particular line. So we have the Pure Made original and then Pure Made zero sugar. So there are those. Then we have the smoothie mixes. Those are the ones that are a pour over ice and blend, very much a food service product. So imagine, a 64 ounce jug of stuff that you pour over ice and blend. And then we have a puree blend, which is in almost what you would call a store and pour. So you can, and I guess they also have a jug version of that as well. So depending on how much fruit puree you need, right? But that's one that's used in cruise ships. Its big use lately has been with soda shops. So you may have heard of dirty sodas.
I have not heard of a dirty soda. What is that?
It's because you're from California.
I'm actually from New York.
You're not.
But I've been here and I still haven't heard of a dirty soda.
I think we're in such a unique market here that this isn't a thing, but it started about 15 years ago in Utah, and it is essentially soda mixology. This is a thing. There are some big brands, like Swig would be probably the largest. They have 150 locations through Utah and kind of heading throughout the country, more so eastward. But it's soda mixology, and what it really centers around is a soda with usually a different syrup flavors with it, usually there'll be like lime squeezes in it. There might be creamer in it. Sometimes there are fruit purees in it, but it is a fun, indulgent twist. And those have been growing quite significantly, not just on food service menus. I saw KFC launched a peach dirty soda thing earlier this year. Taco Bell's had one. Sonic.
That made me think of Sonic. Yes. Okay.
Yes. So it's those. So Sonic caught on last year.
Yes.
Yeah. So dirty soda is an interesting thing, but we're really that brand of choice when it comes to dirty soda. And of course, like, what are the next flavors that we should put out for dirty soda, right? Yeah.
That point you made is interesting. I'm sure you have a competitor. I couldn't name the name right off top, but what I thought was such a positive piece of like consumer feedback is, as I would share with people leading up to coming here today that I was going to be interviewing you all, and I just said the name. And a few people said, oh, well, I don't know who Torani is. And then I showed them the logo and they instantly said, oh, I know them. So people are to me, I love when it's one of those brands that visually people connect with it. You know it when you see it. Even if you maybe didn't remember the name off top, you know it when you see it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. we love I think that what we call the banner of bottles, or that banner effect, red, yellow, and blue. It is, I think, seared into people's minds.
Yep. We know it when we see it and we love it. So let's talk a little bit. You mentioned the environment of working here. And I feel like this is the second company I've come across that can tout never laying anyone off. Is that true?
That is true. We have never laid anyone off. And I mean, I've been here, again, 24 years, not to my knowledge. That, it's true. It's true. We have, and not only that, but again, I started in 2001. I think I was maybe employee 55 or something like that. We have about 500 now. So just imagine that type of growth. I mean, when I say we went from the Pony Express to the space shuttle, it really feels like that. It's really been significant growth, which is exciting. And, we all can learn from it too.
Yes. To be at this point in the company's been around for 100 years, but let's just say the last 20. To never have laid anyone off, that's a huge accomplishment. Jiffy's the other company I talked to who has never laid off an employee.
Wow. And I love their cornbread.
I love it too.
Nice.
Y'all got something going on, something in common. What's the average tenure of the employee here? Do people come and stay for a while?
That I don't know off the top of my head in terms of a number, but yes, we have a ton of people. And in fact, I have a lot of colleagues that I've worked with since the beginning that have been here even longer than I have. But on our marketing team, we do have people who are newer and who have joined in the last 1, 2, 3 years. I mean, this is what happens when you have a marketing department of 3 that becomes a team of 25 to 30, right? You continue to grow.
Yes.
So we certainly have, though, had, I think, a lot of tenure. We also have a program internally we call career mixology. Oh. So that's fun, right?
That's very fun.
We have folks, our newest teammate in marketing came in. She worked in customer service. She has been on the accounting team. Now she's coming to marketing. So people get a chance to try out different roles to see what really captivates them. And people like to learn. They like to try new things. We have a new person in our events team who moved over from customer service as well. So we have folks from manufacturing, from distribution that move also, and it's not just within the factory jobs, but they may move to office jobs. But people really have a lot of opportunities. We get emails every week also showing the open positions as well.
I love this so much. I was just talking to someone recently who works at a larger company, and they were saying there's no reason to let people go out of here. Like, companies invest years in getting people ingratiated into the culture of a company, and just find somewhere else for you to go. That's
right.
Why y'all not laying off, because you just repurpose people in other areas as needed.
Right.
I love it.
Right. Well, I think the other thing, too, is once you have been here for a while, Torani's a company that has added a lot of benefits for you as an employee. So, for example, we added an ESOP. Well, the longer you're here, the more ESOP shares you get. And those continue to grow incrementally, and they can help fund your retirement. And of course, we have the other things like your 401k match. And I think a lot of really wonderful benefits as employees. We have, full medical coverage. Just imagine coming in and working full time. In one of the entry-level jobs, you still get those kind of benefits, which is, I think, really helpful in terms of being able to live a quality life.
Oh, yeah. Talk that total rewards talk to me. I love it.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Worth the price of admission. You all do this good work here around the production of the product, but Torani also does quite a bit of work in the community space and the philanthropic space. I know you've had grantees this year, coming up next year across a variety of areas. So, serving adult populations with intellectual and developmental disabilities, culinary apprenticeships for people who are facing challenges around houselessness or incarceration, reducing food waste. You have a barista training program with local cafes. Talk about Torani's commitment to giving and to community service.
Yes. So we have what we actually have formalized this year called the Cafe Opportunity Collective. So we've really gone from testing and learning and trying different things out to becoming, I think, more formalized and more budgeted against these different initiatives that can help people, because we're really a people-forward company. People first. We want to benefit the world, and the world, it's the people that make our communities make the world go round. So we have had, with the collective, next year you can apply to be a part of it, which gets you, I think, a group of peers that you can learn from. It also provides different benefits in terms of resourcing and support. So those are kind of for our for-purpose cafes. I've had a chance to join some of the pop-ups that we've had in here where, we had some folks from Juma Ventures that were making drinks for some of our different things. But we really want to help provide ways that everyone can have gainful and meaningful employment. regardless of their background.
That's important. I know we talked briefly about the fact that y'all do a flavor of the year every year. 2025 was the diamond syrup flavor.
Yes.
I like that. The diamond syrup flavor, which marked the company's 100th anniversary. But I read that 100% of the profits from the diamond syrup went to job creation opportunities in manufacturing and distribution?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we partnered, and this was through 7 different organizations that we were making donations to with those profits for that product. So I think that it's really exciting to see these opportunities also come full circle, where, people, it makes a real meaningful difference in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you come to a company and you're able to stay for a long period of time. People put their kids through school and, all the things, they stay and they really become a part of that company's story and that company's culture.
Well, that's even like our summer internship program. It's for Torani employees' children, college age kids, or their associates, friends and family. But it really is, you have to have the in, and we have different groups. So I had an intern who was on my team this summer who is related to one of our team members here, who's she's her aunt, or she is her niece, I should say. Her aunt works here.
Yes.
But I think that's another really interesting thing. And we've hired a number of these interns as well, as they maybe finish school or look to transition into full-time work. So they've had the opportunity as well to kind of learn about the company. And it's really intended to get people a chance to learn what it's like what's it like to work at a big company in an office, because we have a lot of folks who maybe haven't had any kind of traditional job experience at all. So get you used to, what's it like to come in and show up every day?
Yes. Show up in this beautiful, big, red appointed, gorgeous office. I love it. With there's like a full coffee bar downstairs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. My banana latte is exactly the way I needed to get myself prepared to do this interview. So thank you for that. I imagine that being part of a brand like this, part of it is encouraging consumers to see the brand beyond coffee is the first thing people maybe think about when they think about Torani. How do y'all approach the process of taking customers from the coffee shop to how this product is functional in their own kitchens?
Sure. So we have, it's as though you've teed up what has been our longtime advertising campaign, which is mix as well. And it truly is, here's one bottle with all of the different things you can make with it that shows it. So thank you. Thank you for the plug. But what I would also say is, we do a lot of education, particularly through social, and I think that's that discovery. There are a lot more ways to discover products than ever before. So it used to be, unless you were on maybe a store shelf or could afford a big TV or magazine ad, it was really hard to reach the public. But now through social media, you can reach people through even their niche interests. So whether it be people who want to entertain or have a dirty soda party, or, hey, I'm really into matcha or wellness or whatever, we are creating all sorts of different content to show how to make, how to stylize, how to, what products to use. And I think what is going to be very interesting to me is how AI is going to also influence the curation of how you can up your expertise with anything. So, how do I create a home coffee bar or my own bubble tea setup, right? And what are the products I need?
Bubble tea at the house. Wow. That's such a getaway experience for me. The boba shop is third place. And then, if I could just bring that third place experience into my house, save a little money and also, keep having my drink that I like.
Right.
All right. I'm thinking about that because, of course, I'm so accustomed. I do buy a lot of coffee out. So, of course, I run across the product in many places. But I'm thinking about the things in my house. And yes, I've used these syrups at a high level, but I'm sure I'm leaving, lots of room for other things I could be doing. We're going to get to that. What else I can be doing with my syrups? I'm sure there's plenty. You're one of those companies that to me has some kind of a non-traditional marketing strategy. And I'm not sure exactly what that is because I don't think I've ever seen a Torani commercial. If I have, I can't remember seeing it, but you're a brand that everybody knows. So how have you all stayed relevant without doing some of those more traditional marketing strategies?
I think we've done a ton of research really to understand how people use our products, where they might think about using them, but we're also looking at where behaviors are going. So again, what are the drinks that people are making? Which beyond coffee, there are a lot of other drinks that can be part of there. What are the occasions that people are gathering? Mm-hmm. We're a very social brand, so you can start to think of different ways that you can also play into that. So one of the kind of interesting projects that I've worked on through the years is like brunches. So it's like, oh, this is, there's a lot happening with brunch. Mm-hmm. Well, let's figure out how to stylize your homemade like Bellini bar, whatever. And Pinterest is great for, I think, that product discovery, that aesthetic discovery of like, how do I curate all of this stuff into something that is the lifestyle I want to live? Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting, I think, change that has happened with social media too, to make it easier to share all of those ideas, and particularly the embrace of video for all of that too. It makes it easier for people to learn. I mean, even when my garbage disposal gets clogged, I can go on YouTube and learn how to fix
University.
It, right? No, I figured out a surgery once from YouTube, minor surgery. And it was successful.
All right.
So yeah, there's some weird stuff that also goes on, but we're looking for like, what are those next moments that might be a great place for Torani to participate, mm-hmm. and we also listen. Like there's a lot of just listening because we'll find other things out. From as keto got to be a great big diet, like, oh, FYI, we have all of the products to support it. And I think that's an interesting thing when you're an ingredient versus the finished good. Mm-hmm. We can participate in so many more places than if you're just trying to sell, like,
just
this
is
my
CPG,
special, this is my mushroom coffee. Well, we're going to make the mushroom coffee taste great, but we're also going to make the matcha if that's your style of wellness. And we can also make that kombucha. And if you're out on a Friday night, we can turn your cocktail into something really fun. Mm-hmm. So I think we have that flexibility that maybe other brands don't tend to have. And we have, I don't know, again, we've got a bajillion things to play with.
You do. And I mean, like I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm thinking about the whole inception in recent years of the non-alcoholic market. That probably was like a gold mine because sometimes, and I love a good cocktail, but sometimes I go to a restaurant and the non-alcoholic cocktails they're almost better because there's so much flavor curation and layering and, just the combinations are very interesting. So for a company like yours who's doing syrups and there are floral notes and, all those kinds of things, it just like kicks the locks off the door of what people can do.
Yes. I think the other thing that has really helped benefit Torani is just global supply chains getting better. online shopping getting better, we have a host of so many products that are at our fingertips. We can get beautiful glassware to showcase whatever beverage we want to make.
Shout out to Estelle. I got a nice set of glasses from Estelle.
Nice.
Yes.
See? Yeah. But it's exciting to make a glass, and mentally it tastes better and it feels like a treat when it looks really nice. We now can go to the store. You can go to a Target or to Walmart or to Safeway or wherever, and just imagine all the cold foams that you can buy to top your drink with. It used to only be Ready Whip, and I don't think Ready Whip is delicious, but now you can get lavender lemonade whipped cream at Target at certain times of year, or you can get peppermint. So we have access to just so much more stuff that has flavor, that has color, that has excitement visually. And I think that's what we can bring in, is that layer of flavor and the layer of aroma into a beverage.
For sure, with 2026's incoming flavor, Forest Pine, is that the right name?
That is.
Yeah, flavors and aroma. But y'all keep it, as I kind of looked at the history of flavors of the year, y'all have been pretty innovative in that space. I saw that salted egg yolk was one. I saw that toasted black sesame was one. How far in advance do you all start developing thoughts around what the next flavor of the year is going to be?
So this is November of 2025 that we're speaking, and it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago that we kicked off the 2027 flavor of the year process.
Oh.
So one of my annual outputs is to provide the stimulus to kick that off. So I'm going down the rabbit hole of what's happening in 2027. A couple of the big things I know are 50th anniversary of Star Wars and 20th anniversary of the iPhone. So I was like, okay, those, but what are some of the other things that are happening? It's supposed to be the first esports Olympics that are in, I think, Riyadh. So it's always, again, let's curate all the stuff to figure out what might be happening there. And then we're also looking at all of the different flavors. But as you can imagine, that's a long way in advance to try to predict the future. But you're also kind of bringing everything along with you and saying, hey, I think it's going to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not just looking at food trends, but just pop culture trends. What is happening in the broader lexicon?
Yes.
And then how can we translate that into a flavor experience?
Yes. I felt the 2024 flavor of the year, which was Galaxy, was one that just felt so natural because we knew there was going to be the total solar eclipse across. And it's just like, oh, this is going to be a no-brainer, because I was one of those people that went to Oregon in 2017. I was like, eclipse mania is going to hit. And we had kind of 3 of those. And then we had the Artemis launches, and there were just a bunch of space things happening. So it's really interesting, the types of clues that you can get from the universe, I think, to help curate you into where things are going to go.
Okay.
So, yeah. And everyone here, we all have to fill out our little forms of, what do you want for your flavor of the year?
Everybody gets a vote.
Yeah, everybody does. It's a small team, but everybody has access to the forms to do it and can submit flavors. And there are certain ones that get, I would say, submitted every single year, but we have goals behind it too. So it can't be a flavor, we don't want to do a flavor that is already out there that maybe a competitor has or that's really easy to access. It's probably not going to be apple or Honeycrisp apple, despite them being delicious, but that's just not trend-worthy enough. This is intended to capture a moment, capture excitement, engage people with the brand, really connect in a strong, emotional, and exciting way.
Okay. Yeah, some of those flavors I read, and I was like, oh, that is exciting. If nothing else, that is exciting. I am excited to see what something with that flavor would taste like. What are one or two lessons you've learned at a successful company, at a company that's been operating successfully for 100 years?
I think the biggest one is finding a place that actually values the people and cares about them, because I have been places where, you are a cog in the wheel and no one cares about you as an individual. I have been able to curate myself into a really nice job that plays to, I would say, my strengths, which are short attention span, absorbing lots of information, really liking to seek out new things and creating and telling stories. Like, that's what I am really into. What I'm not into are sometimes things that other people really seek out. I want to know what to expect every day. I like to be able to predict how my month is going to work out. I want to have regular relationships and ongoing contact with maybe different customers or whatever. I think that, so I think there's something about figuring out people and skills, and we do a really masterful job of making sure that the folks who come to work here really have the personalities and social skills that will help them be successful within the company. So that's one. And I think there's always got to be a willingness and enthusiasm for flavor. I mean, you can't work here if you're somebody that only, has boiled chicken and boiled vegetables and nothing else. Like, it just, come on, flavor
We
has
are
to
not doing a
provide you
boiled
delight.
chicken flavor syrup. Not doing that.
No. I mean, you just need to have, I think, some delight in taste and in flavor and in fun. And I know that, some people, I mean, I would hope that most people experience some of that in their lives, but I don't know that everybody does.
Some people, you know what? It's not me, and clearly it's not you either, but some people are really out here just like eating and drinking for function.
Yes.
And I'm like, I love it for you, and you probably are better for it. For me, there's so much joy and whimsy in this. That is the fun of something like this, like you said, is, the joy of food and drink.
Agreed.
Oh, all the things. You think there'll ever be a limit to the flavors where, like, okay, we produced everything we're going to make, and now we're just going to remix what we've already made? Or will there always be new and next?
There is always going to be new and next. I mean, I think it's evident even in our flavor of the year submissions every year. We get well over 100 things that we have to whittle down. So imagine you've got over 100 ideas every single year. And there are always things that also go away regularly. So, we love every product, but if it's not moving fast enough, sometimes it needs to go away, and not to say it could never come back, but it might be a different format. It might be a different type of flavor, or it might be that just some things have outstayed their welcome. I think of how flavors get, I guess, capture the fancy of people, right? And we adore them, we love them, and we get burnt out on them. And there are ones, I always think of hot sauces for whatever reason in this example, but you think of how long it took for a flavor like Chipotle to catch on and become fans of the masses, and then sriracha like so fast, and then we have things like hot honey that was like in 2 years it was on a menu at Pizza Hut.
Chili crisp,
right? Yeah, chili crisp,
all the things.
Yeah, so I think that there's always going to be something new and novel to discover, and particularly as Gen Z enters their peak spending years, and there's more of that culture of innovation, particularly that's so important overseas, that is coming here. So it's like we're used to more and more and more choices. It's not like the olden days when I was a child where you could only get, certain fruits in the middle of summer. Like you could only get watermelon in the middle of summer.
Yes.
And they didn't sell tortillas at the store. Like I'm 175 years old, but things are really different, that we can get so many flavors, formats available to us that I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. Is that what, in your mind, the next 100 years of Torani holds?
I think it's going to be that, but it's also going to probably be more portable, figuring out ways to help people bring personalization with them to more places, and probably to more cups as well.
Get y'all's cups ready.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. I feel like I've learned tons.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap us up with some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. What is the biggest flavor trend we should watch out for next year?
Probably still matcha. It is, I continue to see these articles of matcha shortage, and when something is scarce, you need it more.
I've never had a matcha.
Oh.
As much coffee as I drink, I have never had matcha.
So there are a couple of approaches to it. There's traditional matcha that is, a little vegetal, and it's serious, and you have the whisk and everything. And then there's what I would call the more American style matcha, which is like melted green tea ice cream.
Huh.
And that's what I like in a drink.
Listen, don't give me a challenge. This weekend, I'm going to go somewhere and have a matcha.
Yeah.
We're going to introduce that to the fold. Okay, next. What is the most underrated Torani flavor that deserves more love?
Ruby red grapefruit. It is the best. I love it.
Oh, that sounds good.
That and pomegranate, both fantastic. Like they're zingy and fresh and sharp and just so good.
Yeah, some vodka, a little Paloma sugar on the rim, and some mint.
Yes.
Y'all better get into it. Next thing, what's one thing that's key to innovating and introducing new flavors? I feel like we touched on this
a little bit. I would say it's curiosity, but it's also really looking outside of just beverage. It's looking to occasion use, to food, to bakery, to ice cream, to candy. I think they all provide inspiration.
Cross category.
Yeah.
What is the most challenging flavor you've ever tried to create here?
Oh, well, we had our long lost bacon. So circa 2010, 2009, there was this whole movement with bacon in the country. It was a thing. There was it felt like it was everywhere. There were bacon blogs, bacon whatever, and we decided we would do a super limited time bacon thing to really capitalize on the whole fat washing trend that was happening within cocktails.
Yes.
And so it was like fat washing bourbons,
which I love.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So that was really what it was. And it's like, we'll make a small batch of bacon and we'll take it to tails with a cocktail. And the goal was to look at what those folks at Torani can do. They can put any flavor in a bottle. And so we created it. It was a vegan product. It was vegan and kosher, but it was not gluten-free, which is kind of an interesting thing. It was a totally funky product. It did taste like bacon, but what I will tell you is hard to get to. Just imagine going to some class, to tasting meetings where you had a drink that tasted like hot hammy milk. And it's like, this is not good. It's like, it's the worst just to think of it. And so that was difficult. But, that was at the time where you would always see, there was an episode of No Reservations where Anthony Bourdain went to Pirate Cat Radio Cafe and had their bacon latte. And so there were things out there happening with it. And so we were working on it in hot lattes, and it's just like, this is too hammy. This is too hammy.
I don't know. Cut it with some maple. I don't know.
It's just, I mean, and it gives me the shivers to think about it.
You're scarred for life.
I know. That was not good. But in the right application, it was really nice.
You find something to do with it. All right, I'll ask you one more. What is a common drink or food that people don't realize they can use Torani to enhance?
I would say there's a really, really, really good recipe we have for candied pecans with, you can use either the caramel or the vanilla syrup on it, and you whip it up with some egg yolk and bake them. And it's just like those chef's kiss. They're so good. The other being, what was the other one? You made me think of it, and whipped cream. Like the other kind of secret hidden recipe is just truly like little half pint of whipped cream, a tablespoon of any Torani flavor, and you've got a flavored whipped cream. It's awesome.
Easy peasy. Yeah. Get into it. Well, listen, I'm excited to, get into my kitchen. It's holiday season. Baking season is in full effect. But for the whipped cream alone, but other things as well. I am looking forward to using Torani in a myriad of things that I'll be serving up to myself in my kitchen.
Nice.
This season. Nice. Tell people where they can find out more about Torani.
So, all you have to do is visit www.torani.com. We're not open to the public. We're a manufacturer. And you can imagine that's not an exciting place to just pop in and visit. There's not a company store here, right? But Torani.com will get you, I think, all of the information. And we do have real people who answer the phone. So how about that?
Listen, that is a great thing.
It's a human touch.
A human touch.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be stuck in no prompt system. Well, that is where you can find out information on Torani. If you want to find me in between episodes, you can find me at kayinthebay.com or on Instagram at heykayinthebay. This has been so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely. I'll see y'all on the next episode.